At a Gaff, if someone was to be like, let's go watch Spider-Man on my phone, it's your oppositional defiance disorder. I'm like, you love Beetlejuice. You're like, fucking Willa.
Maybe he's going through a wee midlife crisis, and he thinks you're as we fling salvation.
You're like, get him out your fucking gap.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Sorry I Don't podcast. Every week we pick a film that's ridiculous, it might be amazing, and then we talk about it. I'm Abby, and I'm here with Claude and Swanny.
Hi.
Hello.
And today we are reviewing Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Swanny already has a bugbear about the fact that his...
I have a beetle bear. That's shit. I have... Yeah, power slap. Yeah,
That's like 30 seconds in, the first power slap.
Not even 30. 20.
20, maybe.
I don't know, I can count. Cammy can count. Cammy, what we in? I was wrong. So, no, I just don't like the spelling of the name in the film.
Okay, so Swanny would give it a what out of 10?
No, but like that.
And thanks for watching the Sorry I Don't podcast.
Cheers, guys. Next time we're doing my film. No, so yeah, so Beetlejuice came out in 1988. Tim Burton, obviously, iconic filmmaker. You know, Edward Scissorhands. What else has he done?
Nightmare Before Christmas,
That's it,
Squirt's Bride, Frank and Weenie. He produced Coraline.
Oh, the Batman. The first two Batman films as well. I
love Tim Burton so much.
I like Tim Burton, but then I also watched Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, but I love Tim Burton.
Yeah, no, fair.
This is one of my favourite films, and it's the only Tim Burton film I've seen.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never seen The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Not all of it. I've seen bits of it. I've never watched it the whole way through.
Wow.
Have you guys seen Sleepy Hollow?
Yes.
Is that Tim Burton as well?
It might be.
I'm just double checking.
Is it? I love that film as well.
Yeah, you'd love that film. That film,
Slaps,
Van Helsing,
claps.
Dracula and the Mummy all feel like they're in the same universe.
Yes, they do. It's really good. It's got Johnny Depp in it.
Get behind that.
It's good. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Beetlejuice, continuing on with our Halloween sort of little season that we're doing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I feel like we accidentally started the Halloween season fairly early because it feels like we've not reviewed a film that's not had at least kind of an horror aspect for several films now. I mean, Tall Girl included.
Yeah, Tall Girl was the most horrific of them all. Yeah, especially the dad just sitting in the darkness.
All the time.
I can't think about that film anymore.
So I guess... Oh.
Sorry, yeah, Beetlejuice, 1988, Tim Burton, who we got starred in it. So, Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, Jeffrey Jones, Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, and Michael Caine. Pretty big actors of their time.
Yeah.
And a lot of them still really successful nowadays.
So, like I said, this is one of my favourite films.
Yes.
I love this film. Literally, because when I first moved into my flat in second year, which was the first time I'd lived in I'd lived in halls my first year. We didn't have Wi-Fi yet, and I was really unwell. And I was just like, what DVDs have I got? And I just found Beetlejuice kicking about, and I was like, I can give this a go. I've never seen it before. And then it just became like a sort of tradition that I watched it every year. Weirdly in September rather than October mostly, but I just loved it. It's like weirdly cozy.
It is a weirdly cozy film.
I don't know. It feels like as soon as it hits this time of year, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to watch Beetlejuice. For those of you who are listening and not watching the podcast, quite comically sitting in the most obscene jumper that anyone has ever created. I made my own Beetlejuice jumper. This was a product of COVID.
I know, she got a really bad bout of COVID and this was
I meant lockdown.
I know. Right.
I'm a massive fan of Beetlejuice,
yes,
as is evidenced by this slightly insane labour of love that I'm waiting.
So yeah, no, it's one of those films that you always hear about, but I'd never seen it for like years. I remember people always just saying, "Oh, you know, you'll like it, you'll really like it," and I thought I would, but it just never came on. I never got to watching it. Do you know another film like that? Ghostbusters. I've never seen Ghostbusters. I've been told I'll love Ghostbusters. I'm pretty sure I would love Ghostbusters, but I've not seen Ghostbusters. That was my Beetlejuice, and now I've seen Beetlejuice twice. and I've liked it more each time. Even though I've been in that absolutely stinking mood both times, I've still liked it.
Actually. I foisted Beetlejuice on you, like, both times.
Yeah, I can't remember whatever.
I think, honestly, the first time you saw it, it was in a sort of packaged deal. It was in some kind of, like, litigation to do with me having to finish Lord of the Rings.
Probably. It was probably part of the great litigation. You were quite good with that, though. Like, I expected more back and forth than that.
Podcast for another time.
I'd love to do that.
Oh, no.
Claude, Beetlejuice.
You're not invited.
I love Beetlejuice. I love Tim Burton, like I've said. Probably my favourite ever film is The Nightmare Before Christmas, which was like partly directed by Tim Burton, and then all of his other films are so class. I've never seen a Tim Burton film and not absolutely like adored it. It's just class. The vibes are so unique. The music's always so like Danny Elfman and Tim Burton coming together is always just amazing. It like totally created that kind of trope of it like not caring about anything emo girl, and there's been iterations of it that have come afterwards that are cringy, but I feel like she kind of Winona Ryder birthed that, so I'll give her that.
She nailed it. I think she was like 16 or 17, and that was like it wasn't her first role, but it was like the main role that like catapulted her into it all. And I didn't know she was in it.
Yeah.
Until I first watched it, I was like, oh, that's Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder.
Was that two Winona Ryder films back
in
to
a
back?
row? I know. Crazy.
Must be Halloween.
It must be Halloween.
But yeah, it's class. I love the vibes. I love the music. I love all the costumes. Like it's just great. Like love it, and it is very like style wise very similar to Nightmare Before Christmas, because they do use some kind of claymation and stuff like that in it, and they've got a lot of like black and white stripy things, hence our outfits today. And that's like a kind of recurring theme in all the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff, and every time I see that it just again like because the Nightmare Before Christmas is quite cozy as well, and like he's just has a good way of making emo films that are for like cozy non-sad emos.
You know, it's an aesthetic that he's really capitalised on. I think he's gone too far recently. Like it's pish now.
I think you've gone too far recently.
Aye, mate.
Definitely, but not as far as he went with those two Alice in Wonderland epics.
I just hate live action Disney films. So
right? Why?
Well, remakes of cartoons.
And Dumbo? Did he do Dumbo as well?
Dumbo,
not Dumbo.
I had a horrible feeling there for a second. I was like, have they made a standalone Dumbledore film directed by Tim Burton?
Called Dumbo.
Called Dumbo.
How he got his door. How Dumbo got his door. I hate that this is part of. I don't want to talk about
Dumbo,
that.
the man behind the door.
Anyway, Michael Gambon passed away. Shout out to his family, of course. Just because, just a nip.
Would you like to play young Dumbo in The Man Behind the Door?
I would love to play young Dumbo.
It would be
in The Man
Timothy
Behind the Door.
Chalamet.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be me. But Timothy Chalamet would play the other part of me, and they'd be like, "Oh no, get Timmy back!" And I'd be like, "That's me." That's a bit much, but no Dumbo.
No Dumbo.
So no Dumbo. Did Tim Burton do Dumbo? I heard that was pish.
I didn't even know that
I
existed.
didn't know that
There
existed.
you go. Exactly. No, just I don't know.
Listen, man, if he wants to make live action Disney films which make an incredible amount of money despite how fucking shite they are, I would do that.
No,
if I was going to make like cash out of it.
To be fair to him, some of his recent stuff, he comes across very frustrated with how he's been pigeonholed into the creative process recently. It was something about, he's like, yeah, everyone's wanting a franchise of everything, everything's got to be this, and I can't remember the exact specifics of the interview, but it was a recent interview, and I was like, oh, Tim. It was the first time I felt sympathy for him in that sense, creatively, in a while.
What a sentence. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about how I felt towards his films and thought about
It's the first time I felt sympathy towards Tim Burton. I'm sure he's green. He's listened to this, sobbing his eyes out.
Well, what's the point? So I can't talk about any film? Or in case I upset the person? No.
I think that's my point, is that he's not going to be listening.
Well, aye, but I said
he doesn't
creatively.
He doesn't need your sympathy.
I said sympathy creatively. I didn't say sympathy towards him as a person. I said sympathy creatively. Before I'd be like, I don't give a fuck what you got to say. That was pish. But now it's like, oh, no, fair enough. I can see, just learning about these things.
Cheers, man. Baby Burton's crying.
Baby Burton's crying, off the wagon. But no, his earlier stuff particularly has really got like a mood and a vibe.
A strong point of view.
A strong point of view. And I think the aesthetics, especially of Beetlejuice, really echo with a lot of stuff that I really like. Evil Dead, classic kind of hokey horror films, anything with claymation, like some of the old, was it Harryhausen? Is that what they're called? I think it's Harryhausen. I always do this. I always get that name wrong. Of all the names, it's always the one that, most people who know about it remember it. It's the guy that did the stop motion like Jason and the Argonauts, like skeletons, like really fucking influential stuff that still looks great today. There's something really cool about doing that because it doesn't age in the same way as digital effects do. Like it does, but it's so obviously an artifice.
It's still, it feels like art though still. I mean, it's still, Anyway.
Yeah.
So, deep dive into the plot. We start off, we are in a sort of very like white picket fence, suburban-y, idyllic little small town. And we meet two of our main characters, the Maitlands. So they are a sort of very traditional gender-rolled couple. We've got a kind of like housewifey character, and then, what's his name? I've forgotten his name already.
Jesus.
Alec Baldwin's real name.
Alec Baldwin's real name. Well, not real name, fake name.
Fake name. Yeah.
2 seconds, bear with. Can't believe I forgot this. I'm so bad with names. Adam, Barbara and Adam. So Adam owns a hardware store in town, but they've got a couple of days off holiday. But because they love their house so much and their little lives in their little town, they just want to stay at home. We also learn essentially that they've been trying to have children, but they haven't yet, or they can't. And also they have a really annoying realtor who keeps trying to show up and try to convince them to sell their house because she obviously wants to make money out of it, but the reason she's telling them is because it should go to like a family with lots of kids, which is brutal.
Yeah.
Like, she's a bint.
Aye, she is a bit.
Genuinely, see, I think the first time I watched it, I think it took till like halfway through the second time, or maybe even talking about you. For some reason, the way she's so passionate and talks about the house, I just assumed that was like her sister.
Well, she says at one point, like, spoilers, they die. And then when she's talking to the new family that move in, she's like, oh, we were devastated. They were family. So I don't know whether it's like meant to be your cousin or something.
What? So, right, so I just thought it was like, oh, you're really house proud. And then she left and I went, oh, right.
She's just annoying.
Yeah,
She
very
is annoying.
Very oppressive.
It's just brutal. She's like, you've been having all those like fertility issues recently, so you might want to think about giving up your massive house you're never going to fill with children. It's
Jesus,
like, all right, man. Jesus Christ.
Aye.
Meanwhile, Danny Elfman's like,
She's gone to like the first day of like, letting agents or estate agents school, and they've been like, never give up on a sale.
Never give up.
Nothing is too low. Never take no for an answer. And she's just taking that far too fucking seriously. And she's decided to like mentally torture this poor couple into giving up their house so she can sell it. But anyway, they decide that they have to nip into town because Adam's building this kind of like model of the town. It seems to be like a little project he likes to work on. And they need an extra little part for it. So he drives down to his own hardware store, and on the drive back, possibly the Rogue, this random wee dog, like they swerve and there's a kind of like bridge, but it's like got like a little kind of like building.
It's
like a little barn.
Yeah, one of those
bridge.
little wooden bridges.
And they're swerved off it because they're trying not to hit the dog, and they're like balancing on one single beam of wood, and there's a dog kind of counterbalancing it, and they're like, don't move, and then of course the dog just like yelps and skips off and kills them.
Well, this is the
Like
thing.
the dog
Murders
kills them, murders
It's
them.
so it's not out of place. It's like it's so silly, and then they fall into the river, and you're like, oh well, that's the car ruined. That's where your mind goes.
Yeah.
You're like,
And then they've fucking drowned.
Yeah, so that's it. So like straight away, and we discussed this the other night, I love that this film just like doesn't piss about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
no
like
screwing about.
these characters
you
are
don't get
ghosts.
half an hour fucking like preamble about why they're there and all this kind of thing. It's just like they're there, they're together, they die within the first like 10 minutes.
Yeah, the film's not about their married life. It's about their their married death, I suppose. But like they go in, they go home, and like dripping wet. And, they're trying to warm themselves up in front of the fire, and then freaky shit starts happening. So, like, she goes to warm her fingers with the fire, and one of her fingers kind of, like, catches fire, but she can't feel it, and it just burning on her hand. And
I liked all those little details, like all
Yeah.
the little spooky details, all the little things. And it's when I was doing some research into the film, it was like looking at the original script was a lot dark, as you find with so many of these weird ass fucking films. They start off as a lot more serious and sad. So like the original thing was we were going to see them like die, and it was going to be brutal and horrific. Her arm gets trapped or something, which is why she goes, "Oh, my arm's still pain or cold." Or something
yeah,
like
my
that.
arm feels really
There
cold.
was something like particular about her getting trapped by her arm in the door or something mental like that.
Yeah.
And it was all very sad and more existential than it is, which would have been a cool script, but it's also like. It's kind of good that we don't have that for this. I don't know.
Because this feels like it kind of, I mean, it's very dark for a kid's film, but it feels kind of like, a child could enjoy it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's
And you couldn't have that if they were, brutally drowning and.
On screen.
well, yeah, clearly, it was more of a horror film, I guess. Then.
Yeah. But essentially,
Or more
enough,
satire of horror film, I guess. as well.
maybe. Enough weird, freaky shit starts happening that Adam's like, right, fuck this. I'm leaving the house to see what the hell's going on. This doesn't seem right. And as soon as he leaves the house, he kind of like appears in another land. Like as soon as he actually steps off of their property.
Yeah, he shows up in Arrakhis.
Yeah, so there's just like this mad sort of yellow sand place, and like there's yellow sand like sticking to him, and he starts to hear this kind of noise, and this sort of claymation beast just appears from nowhere. And then
Arrakhis. Dune.
Barbara runs out of the house and drags him back in, and she's like, "You've been gone for 2 hours." So like, at this point it's pretty clear something's not right.
Absolutely. And then I think that bit then kind of ends with them seeing the book, a manual on, what's it called?
Yeah, so she takes him inside, and she's like, "Well, this is what I've been working on whilst you've fucked off to another dimension." And she like picks up this little ornament they have, and she moves it across the mirror, but you can see the thing move, you can't see them. And he's like, "I don't think we survived the crash."
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, man.
Yeah. Maybe taking a few too long, but I like the bit of it.
To be fair though, I feel like if I died, I would take a little bit of time to accept that.
Yeah.
Like if you were just cutting about like in your gaff, as normal, but like a few things are a bit weird.
I can totally
don't
see
think I
us
would
doing that.
instantly be like, well, clearly I died today.
I could be like, you have. You just be, Abby, you're dead, get used to it. And you're like, Swanny, shut up, man. I'm like, all right, bro, all right. And then I start teasing you about it.
Why was it that the other dimension, the way that they are not allowed to leave the house, it's not like they open the door and then they just like, enter into another room in the house, which could have been quite cool. Why do they go to Arrakhis? What is that about?
I was going to jump back to that as well. We're in simpatico. What the fuck? Why are we in Arrakhis?
Why a lot of things? So like, I think the idea is like the afterlife is unknown to us. And like maybe there's no heaven or hell. Maybe there's
There's
weird
a-
bureaucratic death system where
Yeah,
everyone
look, I'm not. It's not a criticism. I love it, but it is like at least with the bureaucratic death system, you can see what
It
that's
is
going
a-
for. But it's out of nowhere.
It is a bit of a criticism. I feel like Tim Burton just went like, okay, I need to get some like claymation monsters into this somehow, and I'm gonna do it by making outside their house like Arrakhis with a bunch of like big sand snakes, like striped. Why? Because they have the underworld with the waiting room and stuff like that, and that was very effective. And you're like, oh, this is cool. And they have like all these like offices and like people working at it and stuff like that. And then like, what is this? This location is like the Rogues Desert. Like, what's going on there?
I think the idea is
Very out of place.
They no longer exist on like a human plane. They're like in some weird other kind of
Aye.
like death dimension.
But the death dimension's kind of like illustrated by the whole like death waiting room, like go to see the Grim Reaper, like being assigned.
It just needs to keep them in the house. And I guess it's a pretty rogue way of doing that, but
Yeah.
they need to be
You
stuck
need-
where they are.
Yeah,
But yeah, so they found the handbook for the recently deceased, which is deceased. But it's really unclear. So they're getting no answers from that. Like the way it's written is just complete nonsense. But they accept that they are ghosts and that they're dead. And I think this is the point in the film where he says like, we're dead. I don't think we've got any problems anymore. And it's like, bam, 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 bam. Because obviously that would not be a film.
Imagine.
Imagine
Sorry,
that was
cheers,
it.
guys. See you next week.
Like, this is class, man. Let's just cut about our wee house, cleaning everything and having a nice wee time and amazing. That's it, forever. No, absolutely not. So yeah, what do you guys make of everything up until the point where the new family move in? What's your vibe in that part of the film?
Yes, I love their relationship. I think they're like really cute. Like it's class. It's just the weird desert part that I was just like, what? I always forget about it. I think whenever I go back to it, I'm like, I mind this. What? Where are we? What are we doing here? What's going on? Why am I on fucking the what's that planet that Luke Skywalker lives on?
Tatooine.
Yeah, why am I on Tatooine? Like, but the rest of it's class, obviously.
Who would you rather live, Tatooine or Arrakhis? Tatooine.
Tatooine,
Yeah.
100%.
Don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
What is Arrakhis? You keep mentioning that.
Arrakhis is the place from Dune.
It's the planet in Dune. You kind of walk in the sand with a big worm coming after you.
Yeah, it's very, because there's a big worm in that as well.
Oh, well, that's a very apt reference then.
Because Dune came in like 1965. It's like it influenced everything. Star Wars.
It's probably like, maybe it's a bit, maybe it's referencing
I'm
Dune.
sure that's what I'm doing on my phone. I'm sure
Because
I read
it's
something
exactly
ages
like
ago.
it, but obviously Tim Burton styled.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's class. It's good.
I really enjoyed it. Tim Burton's kind of like I like a lot of Tim Burton, but there's some of it I can be like, So there's always an apprehension when I start a Tim Burton movie because it's kind of like for me watching what's his name,
Wes Anderson.
Aye, as I said last week. I'm not going to go into it. Hey, I enjoyed Grand Budapest Hotel. Don't you give me that face.
That's just how much we talked about Wes
Didn't talk
Anderson
about that much.
recently.
A little bit. Anyway, fine.
Yes.
I agree.
Two of my favourite directors.
I'm sorry.
Never asked for an apology. Just stating a fact. It's just funny. Just because our tastes can be so similar sometimes. We like both love Star Wars. We both love like
Aye.
we both love spookies.
Both love spookies.
We love spookies.
We do love
We love
spookies.
Twin Peaks.
do
We love Star
spookies.
Wars.
We love Star Wars.
We love Game of Thrones.
We love Game of Thrones.
We love Dune. But we
And you
just
love
can't
each
agree
other.
And we
on
love
directors.
each other.
Oh.
Oh. That's the way you were saying the other night. You were being all up. Right. Because we were drunk and having lovely heartfelt chats. Lovely heartfelt chats. Get your face away from me with that pish.
Wow.
Just like to clarify to the viewers that I've never had sexual relations with that man.
Literally heard Cammy in the back going, whoa.
Okay. It was very clear that was not what was being said. But then Tweedle T and Tweedle went off on one at me. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway.
Yes, it's
get
good.
over it.
So let's meet Catherine O'Hara.
Yes. Okay, so obviously all is not
Well, I
well.
didn't even say what I didn't even get to my point. Sorry. Point is,
Dancing about it
there's
enough.
always a wee bit of apprehension when I start one of these films. 'Cause I'm like, is this going to fucking make me throw up right away? And it didn't. And it's actually quite compelling and funny. And it needs to be done well and layered in. And they do. The build up of the weirdness is really great. And then you're totally dropped into Arrakhis. And that's really quite weird. But I like it. And I love Gina Davis.
I do love Gina Davis.
The
You told me
older
I was in the
I get-
car. I was like, I love Gina Davis as an actress. And then I was like, the only things I've ever seen her in, though, is this and Grey's Anatomy. I've not seen Thelma and Louise. Thelma and Louise.
You gonna do that again?
No?
No. Yeah, no, she's great. She's one of those people that's been in loads of different things, and I forget a lot of the names. And it's not like she's a character actress in that sense. It's just she's done quite a lot of like smaller roles, bigger roles all over. But no, she's good in this. And the more you watch it, the more you watch her, it's kind of like watching.
She's so warm.
Yeah, it's kind of like a different way of watching Sissy Spacek. Like the more you watch of her, the more you just enjoy watching that person perform. But in different ways, as you say with Gina Davis, it's very warm. Sissy Spacek, it's kind of she's weird and there's a distance there, but both are very human. It's cool. Anyway, point making is it builds up really well, and the characters really help with that. And the little spooky bits are nice layered in. It's silly. At first, though, you are like, "Where's Beetlejuice?" There's a wee bit of that.
Is this Noah Beetlejuice film?
But look,
Is this a surfing movie?
I would like to put a pin in that because I will later rectify that. Because when you meet Beetlejuice, you're like, "Oh, there's a reason he's not in this all the time." Because Jesus,
Can you imagine?
no, I can't imagine the whole film with Beetlejuice.
It would be like
leading it.
listening to this podcast.
That's almost.
Except we didn't get to chat.
It'd be almost like the sequel that they almost made.
actually, when I was looking up the plot like earlier to make sure I had everything, it said there's going to be a Beetlejuice 2 in 2024.
Oh yeah, I've
What?
heard chat about that. I've heard chat about this. They almost made it in like the 90s as well.
I don't want that.
Do you know what Beetlejuice
I feel like
2
every
was
time I do
called?
one of my favourite
But,
films on
like-
here, it's like there's going to be a sequel, and I'm
Do-
like, no thanks.
Do you know what Beetlejuice 2 is going to be called? I'll tell you at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like everyone in their respective roles. Who the fuck? Oh, that's something we need to talk about at the end. If we're gonna cast Beetlejuice 2,
Okay.
who's playing who?
Right. Okay.
Because that would be shocking.
Timothy Chalamet is Beetlejuice. Scratch that. Engross it.
So we meet the Dietz family. So there's Lydia Dietz, whose daughter played by my God,
Winona
even names
Ryder.
today. Winona Ryder. And we've got Delia Dietz, who is played by Catherine O'Hara, my favourite comedic actress possibly of all time. Love her.
very good.
And then the dad, can't mind his name,
Jeffrey
Daddy
Jones.
Dietz.
Jeffrey
by,
Jones.
Yep, by Jeffrey Jones. Played by Jeffrey Jones.
Great actor. Troubled recent history. We won't go
I don't
into
know
it.
anything about it, but
Yeah, we won't go into it.
anyway, so they come in and they just ruin the vibe. Like, do you know when you're like having an afters and then somebody comes in and they're like too loud and they're too much and you're just like, get out.
Yeah,
That's them.
that is it.
And in all in different ways as well. Like the dad's just meh, shite, boring.
And then just jump.
Like
to
have
four
some more
for no
chat,
reason.
please. And then Catherine O'Hara's Delia Dietz, she's just
The
screaming
worst.
all the time.
She just can't chill.
Screaming always. And Winona Ryder's just in a bad mood. It's kind of like the three of us, to be fair. We just oscillate between
Tag
who's
ourselves.
who. But yeah, they come in and they're just screaming, kicking things, shouting at each other, shouting at the house. And obviously the two of them are like, whoa, 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 this is not for us. So they like kind of lock themselves in the attic for basically the rest of the film.
Yeah, they basically make the attic their
They're
wee den.
yeah, they manage to lock it and, you know, hide themselves in there. But they come in and they're kind of their main thing, or Delia's main thing straight away is like this lovely sort of pleasant, you know, very pedestrian style house in the countryside, which is what the dad wants it to be like, a sort of escape from the city. She's like, no, I'm going to tear the entire thing down. And she also they bring with them Ozo, who's her friend.
Yeah, who the hell is Ozo?
Like, I get that he's the stylist, the interior designer. Like, I think they're his clients, but he's
why is-
very involved with this
Yeah.
family.
Oh, he's involved
He's
in it.
always there.
I just need to
Having
double
dinner
check.
with them. He's clearly travelled there with them.
Yeah.
Like he's like her
Ozo.
little kind of
Glenn
I don't know.
Bitch.
Yeah, basically. I was
And then
trying.
she's like desperate to impress him because he's just like walking in and he's like, do you know what I'm thinking? And she obviously doesn't, but she's like trying to guess what he's thinking at the same time so they can see like they're on the same level. But yeah, they just go in and they just start spray painting walls purple and like straight away. So obviously the Maitlands are like, right, let's get rid of these folk. And obviously the natural conclusion that they come to is we're ghosts. We should be able to scare them off. But they're like pish at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they-
I kind of sympathise with them, to be fair, because I'm somebody who gets a fright quite easily. I don't think I've ever successfully managed to like deliberately give someone else a fright. Like, you know, when you're like, oh, I'm going to hide behind this wall and jump out at someone. Every time I do that, it just doesn't work. They're just
It
like,
just comes
"All
out
right."
in a weekend.
Or
how's it more just like mistimes it? You walk past and she goes, oh. You're like, right.
I just think I've got enough commitment to the bit for it, to be perfectly
Oh, you
honest.
cringe yourself out. You're like, I was going to scare you there.
I'm so good at giving folk a fright. I'd be a class ghost.
Same. I've actually like been told by people, hey, you can't ever do that again. or
You say
it's
that with
over.
such pride, like
No.
it's a badge of honour.
Yeah, I got told if I scared her again like that was the relationship over, and I was like, Jesus, that's. I just jumped
What
out.
did you do?
Yeah, it cannot be said on a podcast. No, I just
We'll
jumped
get
out.
that
I
clipped. That
someone
should
went
be
to the
one of
back.
the intros to the episode, Gabby. You know, you do like a wee montage of moments from the episode.
Right. No, I just jumped out.
That's
but
getting added to the file. It'll be shown in a court case one day.
One day. No, I was just scared.
I remember I
jumped
got
out.
scared so badly once that I just like genuinely almost shit myself, like literally, and just had to sob for like 20 minutes. It was
Well,
in
that's what they were like.
it was in Arrakhis during the night. So
Excuse me?
you were there. So Swanny's got
Was it me?
Swanny's parents. No, it wasn't you. Swanny's parents have got this caravan in Arrakhis, which is just
West
like
Coast.
the west coast of Scotland, and we were staying up there for a weekend, and the bathrooms are like a different building from where the caravan is. So I was there in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
And I was coming back, and I was just like taking a shortcut where because there's like street lamps there, but I was taking a shortcut where there wasn't any.
Yeah, straight.
Because it's
straight-
so quiet.
Yeah,
it's
a
so
it's a
quiet.
straight line straight
And then
to the
I just
caravan.
like saw this figure running towards me and like squealing, and I just like almost shit myself, and I was just like actually hysterically crying because I was so like, I'm gonna die. This is me dead. I am dead. But I didn't die, and it was fucking horrible. And it wasn't you, surprisingly.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That's so
That's
funny.
what you think.
Ah, it was me.
Somehow,
was someone I knew, by the
somehow
way.
Oh.
Imagine.
I was kind of waiting for the end of that story. I was like, and so you didn't die, but it was just a random
No.
guy, like a random mad guy running towards you. How have you not told me about this shit? That
But,
sounds terrifying.
But no,
There's like 3 caravans in this campsite as well. Like, surely that would have been really awkward when you saw them the next day.
Like, sorry, man, I thought you were someone else.
I remember hearing that and just laughing. Like, what happened and laughed. But point I'm making, or point I was going to make is they're terrible at trying to scare people. And like, I get it, but also it isn't that difficult. It's not that difficult. If you're especially if you're a ghost.
But they
They
can't. Right, so we'll get to that plot point. But before we do, I'll just say, see, being scared in my house as a child, like, it was a sport for my parents. Like, the level of commitment was unreal. So, like, sometimes, you know, you just sometimes get a feeling you're like, somebody's like having a laugh with me just now, like somebody's going to jump out, and then the anticipation of it actually makes it like more terrifying. So, like, my stepdad used to like hide behind doors and things like that and jump out at you, and I knew, I could feel it. I felt like I was about to get scared. So I was like trying to be really smart about it, and I was going upstairs and I'm like shouting his name, looking about, and then he wasn't answering, and I was like, he's hiding behind one of these doors trying to scare me. And I went round and I checked every single door in the house, and he silently moved behind me, moving from door to door. So I eventually was like, oh, he's in his bed. I've checked all the doors. There's no way he's going to jump out at me from somewhere. But he had actually like moved around. So he like was just following me silently behind as I checked all the doors. So then when he did jump out at me, you're right, you're like crying, like really shit yourself, because I was so tense by that point already. I'm just like, what sort of psychopath is like that intent on scaring someone that they'll go to that level of commitment?
I
Me.
took you guys to the woods and then just like went, oh, I'll go find it, and then just disappeared for like a couple of minutes.
No.
Was it you? Calder Woods in Falkirk.
Oh, that was me.
That was you.
Yeah.
And I disappeared in the woods for a bit.
You didn't disappear in the woods. No. We did see a ghost in the woods, but you didn't
Later
disappear.
on. Oh, that's what overshadowed it. No, because I definitely did. I definitely did
That's
it.
what overshadowed
Yeah,
it.
because I did the wee scary bit at the start, and everyone got freaked out. But then it got superseded by the actual ghost.
And to be fair, you gave me a fright last Halloween after we watched The Exorcist. Because you hid behind you had gone out to the flat ahead of me. I'd forgotten something, so I went back into the flat to get it. And as I came back downstairs thinking you were already in the car, you'd hid behind the main door of the flat. I can't remember whether I don't think you jumped out at me. I think you just started loudly playing the Exorcist theme song.
I did. Yeah, I did.
It's so scary.
I
So easily
frequently
scared.
like to terrify Cammy in the flat. I've got a really good kind of method though, which he never expects, even though he knows that I do it, is that he'll be like in a room and I'll go in my hallway, which is quite wide, and I will go like on my haunches, so I'll be like kneel down, but like next to a door, so I won't hide. I'll just kind of stay there, because you kind of walk out and you have a sense of like, right, somebody's here, and then you go down and I'll be like smiling at him with my like neck cricked, but I'll be also kneeling down, and then I'll start crawling towards him really quickly, and he always shits himself every single time. It's so class. But I will sit there for genuinely however long it takes until he comes out.
You got it.
Every time.
You just got to wait. It's like, aye.
And it's always worth it.
It's always
I
worth
love
it.
scaring
Absolutely.
people.
You got to commit to it. Absolutely.
One day.
And of course you don't like it. You're the one getting scared.
Yeah, one day I'll get there. One day I'll scare someone.
Right,
Anyway.
Gina.
I'm Gina. Anyway, the Maitlands can't scare anyone because it turns out that the adults in this family, who are the only who they've tried to scare, can't see them. So they can't see ghosts, and they try and consult the Handbook for the Living Dead about this, and it turns out that humans do not see the strange and unusual, and that's why they're having trouble getting rid of this family. So the Handbook for the Recently Deceased obviously tells them that that's... I feel like I'm trying to mentally work out what the last thing I said there was.
You were saying the people can't see the strange and unusual.
What the handbook does tell them, though, is that if they need help, they should draw a door, because that's the kind of helpful instruction. That's basically, it's like having a conversation with Swanny. You can kind of glean what maybe it means, but you're like, I'm not quite sure what's going on here. So they draw a door with some chalk and they knock on it 3 times, and then they enter this kind of like weird afterlifey situation, which is like one of my favourite things about this whole film. So they go into this kind of weird waiting room, and there's just like a host of rogues, essentially. Yeah. It's like, this is the rogues gallery. This is where this is how rogues go to heaven. Like, it's just this waiting room with this weird guy. There's like a kind of guy with a sort of shrunken head. There's a guy who's been run over. He's got tire tracks on him. Yeah, there's a woman.
There's like a host of injuries that these they've obviously killed people, and there's obviously something macabre about that. I like it.
Shrunken head guy. How did he die?
Well, do we not see at the end when Beetlejuice gets his head shrunk?
It does,
like by some shaman or something like that, or some magic guy.
That is so roguish.
It's so roguish. It's a very roguish realm.
But there's a sort of like receptionist who I don't really know what her deal is, and I don't really want to even question it, because it's just kind of like she's like a fairy / a pageant queen / she's blue for some reason. And she's just really cheeky. That's kind of like her bit. So basically she's like, you don't have an appointment, and she's barking all this stuff about these like rules and how things work, and they're just like, we just died, man, and now we're here. Like, we don't have a clue what the fuck's going on. Everyone's raging at them that they can't read the handbook. And they're waiting for their caseworker, Juno, to show up. They get taken down this sort of like weird, very Tim Burton-y corridor that's really spooky, and they see this kind of like window with these sort of like ghoulish green blobs floating about, and a very ghoulish caretaker walks past and is like, yeah, that's souls who have been exorcised. That's death for the dead. I think the idea is if you're a ghost and you get exorcised from wherever it is that you're like living or haunting, then you just become like a wee sad blob and you just float about in the ether.
Yeah, they're just like in a perpetual darkness, screaming away, looking for purpose. You're like, yep, that's horrible.
Bogging, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's like that. It's like the film is like so bright and happy and colourful in a weird way, and there's got a moment where it's like, yeah, man, that's what's coming.
It's got
that's the hell door. That's purgatory.
It's got such like, an anti-life stance in a sense. Like, oh, fuck the living, man. Like, look at them. Like, oh, you seen The Exorcist? Oh, you thought The Exorcist was terrifying? And look what they did to him. Look what happened to Pazuzu. Look what's up to Pazuzu. Pazuzu nothing. He's fucking in there, in the room, screaming away to himself. That's shite. That wee girl she was shite. That's what the film seems to be saying about the living.
The waiting room kind of vibe as well is like that people are like, huh, you new here? And it's like, what do you mean? You haven't died twice, isn't it? You haven't been here a couple of times. This is surely everybody's first time here. You die and then you go and get your appointment and then go and do your thing.
What's happening?
Right? Like, people are kind of like, oh, look at these fucking noobs, you know?
Or is it every time they go back there to ask another question about how do I deal with this? They have to then.
But they only get 3 appointments for like, I think it's like 180 something or 280 years or something like that they're meant to live in that house before they can move on to whatever's next. And or for the time that they get like 3 appointments with their caseworker, 2 of which they use in this film. So
great job, guys.
I know. Be like, if you could only phone your landlord like 3 times for the entire time that you lived in your flat to complain about something. Like, what would happen if like their washing machine breaks later on? Just, that's it. Can I ask, So they meet Juno. Well, first of all, we meet the flat guy. He's just like...
What guy?
The flat guy, the one who got run over.
Oh, the guy's been run over.
He's just like on like this kind of like hook thing, and they seem to have a very accessible workplace. They've just built little slots for him to like be carting about in. Mm-hmm. And he takes him to Juno, who's this kind of, again, slightly roguish old woman who, I mean, she obviously died by some method that included her throat being slit or her head almost being cut off, and she's just chain smoking, and there's like smoke coming up through like the slit in her throat, and it's absolutely grotesque but funny. Mm-hmm. And she basically is just like, you're a mess, you're a state, get a grip.
Be better.
Be better.
Stop being so
You're
shit.
literally ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And
You can do anything you want. Do it.
yeah,
Be
and also
scary. It's simple.
like they're just like, oh, but this person repainted our living room, and she's like, well, you're dead, man, and they live there. Like they're paying the mortgage. They can paint it whatever color they want. Just either like get over it or do something about it and stop moaning to me about it. And she has this conversation with them. She's led them to this weird kind of corridor in this kind of like really weird kind of like modern but spooky room. And then she just evaporates into thin air because of course. And they're sort of left standing in this kind of like dark, sinister looking place. And it turns out that this is actually their house. And in the time since they've been away for this one conversation, 3 months have elapsed. Yeah. And now they're standing in the sort of, well, it's how Delia and her weird kind of like modern architecture, strange vibes brain has like decorated there once in their eyes. Very lovely, very idyllic family home.
That's Catherine O'Hara's redesigned it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's just sitting there, it's shit.
And the plan, the vibe is basically like, I think that the dad works for this big company and he's like, oh, I'm gonna like sell houses here. This is like a class neighborhood. And so like, you know, we can make this look class and then people might come and buy property out here. But it's cheap to buy because it's like in the middle of nowhere. And that's their whole vibe. But like, see, up until this point, except for gentrifying this little neighborhood, they're not actually doing anything wrong.
No, they've just got like
if you look at it
weird
objectively.
taste. And to be honest, right, we like sat here and we're like, oh, Catherine O'Hara's character is just the worst. She sucks, right? But like, we also did make the argument when we were watching this film that this would be me if I got tied into a loveless marriage with a boring guy and dragged off into the countryside, because she walks in and she's like, you will let me make this house my own or I'm going to go insane and I'm going to take you with me. And I'm like,
yep.
Things I have said. Things I have literally said.
Well,
and also
to
the
me.
Like,
Well, the Gaff.
well, I'm slightly have control freak issues about interior design, and it's hilarious because our flat's a shit tip anyway. So it's like,
lovely.
who cares what colour the picture frames are? There's just like a fucking bin on the floor.
Yeah, we get rid of that bin quite often though. We try and stay on top of it. There is one element of the flat I wish we could get rid of.
Oh God, we're not
can't
doing
do
this
this
again.
I don't want to upset anyone today, so I'm not going to do it.
Why did you bring it up then?
Because it was on my mind, and it's never not on my mind till we talk about the flat.
Do you know what? I'm going to insert a picture in here. We can
Oh,
set
I think
this.
it's beautiful.
I think it's fucking bogging.
I've got a very kitsch, very like tongue-in-cheek, you know, just a bit cute. It's a, you know, like for dinner candles, the tall ones, it's a candle holder that's shaped like a banana peel.
And then
don't see
you
what's wrong
put
with
like
that.
a slightly yellow candle in it, and then the candle looks like the banana. I think it's great. I love it.
I think it's minging.
I think it's
I think
class.
it's horrid.
Swanny will like bring this up with guests
So I want
to
people
the
to
flat.
know. I want people to tell me.
It's great.
Not everyone likes it, which
That's
I'm
fine.
quite pleased with.
It's not
I
for
s-
everyone.
I almost stole something out of an Airbnb, and it was a snail, a golden snail, and it's shelled that you could take out and use as coasters, and they all had like snail shell like patterns on them. It was so class.
See, I think snails are bogging, but
Knew you'd hate it. That's why I brought
snails
it
are
up.
bogging. They're wee grossies.
No, snails are great. They're cute. They've got little antlers. It's
They
so
don't have antlers.
sweet.
They've got fucking proboscis, and they're gross.
They're antlers.
I think that's called proboscis. It just sounds like the word it would be.
I was like, how do you just know that off the top of your head? I was quite impressed there.
Right. I think it is proboscis though. Maybe.
It's antenna,
Mm.
eyes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, so I feel sorry for Catherine O'Hara, especially because if she was like, Lydia's like her stepdaughter, if you know, you just got sent off to the countryside away from all your friends and your life and your everything, and it's like this, you know, moody teenager and a boring husband, you would go a bit mental and do a lot of weird sculptures and try and turn the house into you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's a super intense person. So the Maitlands then decide that they're gonna try again with the haunting thing, and it's just like they are the most vanilla people. I think that's like their whole characterization.
Yeah.
They are just vanilla.
Yeah.
That's their thing.
Totally.
So of course, as any vanilla ghost would do, they're like, I guess we'll just put bed sheets on and cut holes in the eyes and go, woo. That's it. That's their whole plan.
That's their whole bit. And they're like, but just they have the capability to like morph their face into like monstrous shapes and sizes.
Possess
And
people, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure if they wanted to, they could enter into
they
someone.
can possess people. They do later. Many
Yeah.
people do think that, but no, they're like, sheets, that'll do. That'll
I
do.
know.
So they try scaring Delia, and she's like, what was it? She's on like Xanax or something, so she's passed out, and she just kind of like moans and like turns the TV off. And Swanny was like, again, that's just Abby because I'd sleep so heavily.
She sits up she's like a jerk and turns it off, and it's like, yep, seen Abby do that. I'm scared by that sudden movement before as I'm sitting on the couch, enjoying the end of the episode that we were meant to be watching. Attacked. Not really. You know, you've attacked me once in your sleep. That was shocking.
Don't remember. I was asleep.
She fell asleep and I tried, Abby, you need to move and take his bed. Punching me. I was like, fucking no. I was like, right, man. Jeez.
Anyway, so they try scaring the dad, and he thinks it's Lydia. And he's just like, can you not cut holes in the sheets, please? Leave me alone. Closes the door in her face. So they're a bit like, well, that was shit. Poor show, guys. But Lydia then catches them in the hallway, and she thinks that it's some weird like sex thing
game
that her parents are involved in.
I think she hears them.
Yeah, because she hears them doing the moaning sort of sound.
She's like, oh, I can hear.
Yeah, she's
I'm
like,
just a child. I can hear this. It's fucking stop it.
which is horrible. The fucking implied narrative of that. The weird sex noises are they making in the house?
I know, that was bogging.
Odd. Very bogging. But she sees them and she's like, guys, stop being freaks. Which is fair. But she takes a picture of them with her Polaroid camera. For what reason, I don't exactly know. But she notices that like there's no feet. And I think that's when she kind of clues into the fact that these are actual ghosts. And it's very funny how like not arsed she is about that.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to be terrifying, and she just comes up to them and she's like, go take the sheets off. What are we doing here?
I want to see what you look like.
Step up.
Do you look shocking?
Ghosts, fucking keep up. Fucking, we're beyond like the 1910s drawing wee pictures of spookies. Fucking get me scared.
Aye.
She's just like completely obsessed by the morbid curiosity about things as our Lydia. I can relate to that sometimes. Like last night I was at my pal's party, and he has taxidermied tarantulas on his wall.
Oh.
That's how everyone else reacted and left the room, and I was like, I want to see that. I want one of
Give me
these.
that.
See, I was
Give me
like,
that.
I was the exact same when I was a kid. I used to like love spiders. I used to love tarantulas. I used to be like, I want a pet spider so badly. And then I realised I was actually really scared of them. And I just liked being scared of them. And then that I grew up and was like, oh, I don't actually like this at all. And now it's a really deep-seated fear of mine. How weird's that?
I'm the spider man. In the flat.
I'm the Spider-Man.
I am the Spider-Man.
Big revelations, guys. Tom Holland stepping down and Abigail Ferguson is stepping as I am the Spider-Man.
But you know what I mean? Like you can't cope with spiders in the flat.
I'll get rid of them sometimes, but yes, you're more of a...
I'll get rid of them sometimes.
Yes.
Abby, there's a Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Oh my god, you
sometimes.
can't find it. Well, then you have to sit here and hang out with me all night because I'm too scared now to be
Twice
alone.
that's happened. Twice that's happened. And also,
I didn't say how many times. I just said that had happened.
it also reasons to hang out with me. Remember yesterday, I was like so tired. and I came
Is this
into your
no
room.
enough?
I was so tired. I came into the room and I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I want to go to bed. But the thought of actually going to bed and no annoying you is making me sad. But I didn't want to hang out. I didn't want to do anything. And you were like content watching something on your phone.
But you just wanted to annoy me.
And I just lay down, face against the side of your bed, just like, right, I'm going to go to bed after like 2 minutes of silence. Don't know what the point of that was. I feel very seen.
Just had to get that off your
very
chest.
exposed right now.
This is Swanny's counselling, week 7.
Don't know what I was saying there. Don't know what I'm saying, Doc. I'm dissocial. But no, I'm
But
not.
you also had the spider song as well. That one that's like,
Spiders. That's
Abby,
what we're
Abby, Abby,
talking- Abby, hurry.
because it's like a meme and it's the original words are like,
Hurry, hurry, daddy,
daddy, hurry.
Daddy, daddy.
So we have a balcony in our flat, and I was standing out there before a first date, like waiting on the person walking up the street.
Yeah.
And at that point, Swanny decides it would be the perfect time to start screaming that at me.
I forgot about that.
And he could see from the street, and I'm like you know, like the way that Ross and Monica fight in Friends. I'm like trying to kick Swanny and be like, shut up, he's gonna appear at some point. And he just ended up walking up the street to find Swanny singing a song about me killing a spider for him and me trying to like wrestle Swanny into shutting up. And it was just the most buoyant experience ever. I felt like I was just standing on the balcony being like, hi.
Look, he had to know what he was in for. He had to know, like, this hi is bullshit, but the real thing is endorsing
That
Abby,
you're-
endorsing me.
His ma.
Yeah, well, we're each other's ma.
I hate that.
We're both half a ma.
Hate that more.
Okay, so I should explain the reason that Lydia can see them even when they take the sheets off, despite the fact that her parents can't, is because she is self-professed. I myself am strange and unusual. So if living people are not used to seeing the strange and unusual, well then this doesn't apply to Lydia because she's not like other girls.
Yeah. She's the original, not like other girls.
She is the original, like other girls.
Cookie crazy.
She is a bit cookie crazy, but she started it, so
Yeah.
it's
No,
fine.
see, you've said this.
And she looks
both of
cool.
yous. I don't know if she did start this. She definitely popularized it a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that.
Well, to me,
That'd be wild. Yeah, fair.
It
That'd be
feels
really
like-
cool if it was the first one, though. But I feel like it's
no,
not.
there's definitely other kind of gothy, like weird teenagers
yeah,
and
but,
things.
I'm struggling
But
to
it
think,
feels
'cause
like
it's
such a good.
interesting.
It feels like the quintessential example of
Yes.
it.
Yes.
So fair enough, she gets passed. She does it so well that I don't care. But yeah, so that's the reason she can see them. So the next day she's like, right, should probably tell my parents there's ghosts in our house. And like fair enough, as any parent would react. They're like, shut up,
Yep.
stop looking for attention. Like get a hobby.
The
Go
dad's
outside.
just like, please, I
Aye,
moved
do
here to
something.
get away for you, so can you
why,
get out of my
yeah.
office?
And the mum, her stepmom's just like, look, I've got pals coming over for dinner, and if you could be done with whatever fucking weird thing this is by then, that would be great. Because nobody wants to come out to like the middle of fucking nowhere to visit us, and I've managed to convince a few cool people from the city that I want to hang out with to come here for dinner. So would you just no ruin this for me, please, please,
Please,
please.
Lydia, please.
So anyway, Lydia's like, right, fine, cool, I'm on my own with this then. Barbara and Adam are gutted that their haunting didn't work, and they've literally only managed to like slightly interest a wee girl in the fact that they exist. So they noticed, and kind of it's been sort of teased throughout the film at this point. They see an advert on the TV that just suddenly comes up for Beetlejuice, the human exorcist. So it's kind of like the reverse, obviously, of an exorcism. Bioexorcist. So he's going to be the person that gets rid of the living from your house. So they've seen a couple of mentions of him.
Fucking Saul Goodman commercials going on in the background. You want a criminal lawyer. You need a criminal lawyer. You want the dead gone. You want the living gone. You need someone that will exorcise the living. Bio exorcist. That's it. He's fucking class.
Yeah, and his advertising campaign's been very effective.
Oh yeah.
They found a flyer, they saw a TV advert, and now she notices in this sort of like model town that they've built a little grave that says Beetlejuice on it. So they say his name 3 times. She's trying to pronounce it and she says it 3 times, and that's why it's Beetlejuice and not Beetlejuice.
Use.
I think just calling him Beetlejuice would have been fine. Like I don't get it. I read it on that. It says he called it Beetlejuice because it markets better and it's funnier. I was like, is it? Just call him Beetlejuice. Just
Which one do you not like? The G's?
G. Aye, fuck off. Just call him Beetlejuice. It's spookier. It's creepier. Let's no fuck about with a joke that doesn't quite work. I don't even know what the joke's trying to be. That's my opinion on it.
Maybe Beetlejuice is a real name,
I think it probably is.
and that's the pattern. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But anyway, she sees it. She says the name 3 times, and as is now like famous within pop culture, that's how you sort of like summon Beetlejuice. So they actually get sucked into the model, and they exhume his grave from this little like sort of like plasticky model place. And I want to read exactly what this says here because it's feelings I've experienced before. I was using this plot recap online to sort of help me structure the podcast. And it says, after first mispronouncing his name, when she says Beetlejuice 3 times, she and Adam are sucked into the model where they exhume Beetlejuice's body. They immediately regret it. His personality is abrasive and he is completely uncouth and even insane.
Yep.
Which is kind of like at nighttime when I'm like, oh, I've got a funny bit to go and tell Swanny. I'm just going to go tell him right before I go to bed. And then like 3 hours later, I'm just sitting watching Swanny fanny about, screaming. And it's just no ending. And you're like, it's my fault. It's like when you wake up a baby. You know, in every sitcom ever, when somebody has like a baby and the baby's born. Baby. And then they're like, oh, I just want to say goodnight. It's so cute. Oh, I can't stand to be away from him. And the baby cries for like 3 days. That's what it's like.
That is what it's like.
Round agreement on that one. I enjoyed the he's a bit insane and he's a bit crazy. I was like, me. And then he's like a Wayne when you wake him up. Oh, fucking right. Salt and pepper. No, not salt and pepper. Salt and sweet.
His personality is abrasive and he is completely uncouth and even insane.
I'm
now,
not
if that
abrasive.
isn't a Tinder bio.
Ow! How am I fucking abrasive?
You're being abrasive
That's
right
the
now.
fucking point. Oh,
that one you didn't
That
mean.
one.
didn't mean that one. You're bringing the demons out of me, girl. Don't like that.
What the fuck was
I
that?
don't know. I felt like
Are
something.
you trying to be Beetlejuice?
No. It felt like a quote of something. It was actually a quote to a really obscure the Long Island film, Hot Rod.
Okay.
But he didn't say girl. I guess it just twisted it. That was Beetlejuice, that part. Aye. So we meet Beetlejuice.
We meet Beetlejuice and they're like, he's just too much.
Well, this is the thing. This is why I would argue that Beetlejuice is the genuine rogue of Beetlejuice. Because you're like, oh, I can't wait. Beetlejuice is going to come in, he's going to sort it, he's going to train them how to be scary. That's what it seems to be. He's going to be a trainer of how to get scary. And he's not. He's just there immediately like harassing her, trying to get her to kiss him, trying to fight him and wrestle with him. And he's like, come on, guys, come on, give me, and you're like, whoa, can we sit
If the
down?
Deetses are your pals that come to the afters and you're like, this is killing the vibe, then Beetlejuice is the random guy you met in the club that's like,
Who came back?
Yeah.
I'm
He seemed
coming
like a
back
laugh.
with you.
He seemed all right.
Aye. It seemed like it was going to be fun. It seems as if Beetlejuice was going to add something to the gaff. Who the fuck's Beetlejuice,
now
man?
he's
I
taking-
don't know. Just met him.
but
What a random guy. And then as soon as he's actually in your house, you're just like, oh my God, I should phone the police.
Oh yeah, he showed up and like he took off his shirt and he just had his shirt off the whole night.
Yeah.
And it's cold.
And everyone hates him.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, can you do something about
Or
this
he
guy?
takes his
And you're
jacket
like,
off.
I've tried.
And it's got like like a Confederate flag or something on it.
Somebody
Oh.
peeks into his pocket and he's just stolen everybody's like fags, money, like everything.
You just keep seeing him with a different bottle. You're like, we met him at the club. He didn't bring a bottle. Do you know what I mean?
He speaks so quickly all the time.
Right,
He's
yeah.
just constantly making comments and jokes, and you can't even really keep up with what he said. You can't even like process the first joke that he's just made because he's already telling another one. You're just
Oh, no,
like,
it's
whoa.
great. It feels like he's in the film longer than he is, and I take back my original comments from when I was like, where the fuck's Beetlejuice? I want him. Now we get the perfect amount of Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
because if
yeah,
had
too
to-
much. He'd be way too much. He is the guy who not only you bring back from the club, but he just never leaves as
Also,
well.
I don't know.
You're there, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, right, I wanted to go to bed for the past 4 hours, and he's like, aye, but like, should we just go round to Tesco and get a couple more cans? And you're like, no, man, no, we shouldn't. Get out my house,
And then-
please.
Yeah, and it gets even worse. Like, mate, minimum, we can't get beers before 10, mate. We're not going to get it. And he's like, I'll sneak it out. I'll just buy a cola and it'll be equivalent to the price. And I'll just steal it. You're like, man, what are we saying? What are we talking about?
And this is us responding to Beetlejuice as a person. The Maitlands are nowhere near our level of putting up with mental people. So they're just like, absolutely not. No, not having anything to do with this. They decide that they're just going to scare the Deetses themselves. So they are, and again, it's quite a cute, wholesome way. Like their idea of haunting is that like at Delia's dinner party that night, we get quite an iconic scene where everyone's sitting down to have dinner and they're having this kind of like prawn cocktail starter with these sort of like finger looking prawns. And Delia's, chatting about, pish, humble bragging about herself and stuff, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere the song is it called Deo? Yeah,
Maybe, yeah. I
I
think
can't remember
so.
who it's by,
I think it is.
but the song Deo starts.
I think it's called the Banana Song.
The
actually.
banana song, that's it. And They are.
They're all
it's like
controlled into saying it.
they're basically possessed. You hear the Maitlands listening to it on the radio earlier on in the film. I think possibly before they die. And it's like this kind of like projection throughout their voice, and they're completely powerless to stop it. So it starts off with her, and then the dad joins in as well when he's like, "What are you doing? Stop that!" And then all the guests are possessed, and they start dancing around the table, and like there's all sorts of like obviously the prawns become hands that are like trying to grab at them and stuff, and shit's gotten pretty weird. So Lydia's feeling pretty smug about it. She's like, "See, I told you there were ghosts," and I think obviously she and the Maitlands expect that the response to this will be like running away in absolute fear and terror. So like the Maitlands are upstairs like, oh, any second now you're going to see them running out of the house. But no.
They love it.
They love it.
Oh, they love it. Well, aye.
You should have seen the way that fucking Catherine O'Hara decorated the house.
Aye, man.
She's like an adult goth. Do you know?
Oh.
Of course she was going to love it. There's actual ghosts in my house. Class. I can make money off it. Class.
Controversial opinion time. It's iconic. Look, no doubt about it. But it's a bit pish. I didn't really like it that much.
What?
I love it.
Them singing that song doesn't really work for me. I'm just like, right, where's Beetlejuice? I actually now fully gone back to I want Beetlejuice all the time. I want 20. You know what?
So this is like at a gaff if someone was to be like, let's go watch Spider-Man on my phone. And you're like, where's that mental guy? Let's bring him back. Or they start playing like Taylor Swift or some music
somebody
that you
gets
would
their
not agree
acoustic
with.
guitar out and starts like getting everyone to start singing. You're like, hold on, where's the guy from the club?
I get him.
Where's the
back.
guy who stole my wallet?
Yeah, no, maybe actually. Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird film for me, to be honest. Like sometimes I think about it, I really like it, and then I think about it and I really don't like it. And talking about it right now, I'm like.
But it's fun. I love that song, Harry Belafonte's Class.
I also agree with Tim Burton on that because he didn't think it was funny either, but he didn't want to keep it in. And then the test audiences loved it. All right, well, I guess we're doing that. So he probably loves it now. It's pretty iconic.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Even if you don't like love it,
I just don't get
you're
it.
just like, this is such an iconic moment. Like this is. Yeah, and it's because it's kind of out of place in like such a nice way because it's like such a sort of like spooky horror film.
They're just totally out of touch with being ghosts and what's scary. They're just like, oh, we'll get them to sing songs together.
Yeah, and it's like kind of disconcerting, but it's like not in the way that it's like, oh, this is terrifying or scary. You're just like, that was weird. What a rogue choice.
Yeah. Because you need something a wee bit different from what Beetlejuice ends up doing, where he
Yeah.
just absolutely rips the pish when it comes to the haunting.
Yeah. So obviously they're kind of downstairs hatching a plan. They're like, right, Lydia, you seem to have an in with these ghosts. Let's go up and scare them out of the attic and let's, monetize this as a haunted house. And Ozo's just like all over it. And also I love that there's like
Otho as well.
Otho. There's also
I was calling him that as well. I read it and went, of course it's Otho, not Ozo. Of course it's just the accent.
Ozo the bozo.
Ozo the bozo.
But like, there's also a guy there who appears to be like Delia's manager or like agent for her art or something, and he's just constantly like, "Where's my money?" Everything she says, he's like, "Oh, that's funny. Do you know what would be funny if you actually made some money and it was not a waste of time having you as one of my clients?"
When was this?
In the dinner scene, one of the guests.
Yeah, one of the guests, the older guy. He's just like
This film does hangs to my brain. There's generally bits of this film like, why did that? Anyway,
That's how I feel watching every other film.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's just so they're all down there. They're trying to like patch a plan to make money. They come up the stairs, and obviously the Maitlands are just like, "No, I'm not doing that. We want rid of you, not
out."
this." But because of everything they've done,
they've just been too charming and lovely.
yeah, basically they've become too likable as ghosts. And
Yeah,
they're like, actually,
I did really like the scene when I like everyone's response to being made to sing. I really liked that. That was fun. That was funny.
because they're delighted by it. They're like, it's going to be like a theme song.
I enjoyed that. That was a
Theme
cool plot thing.
The Maitlands are not impressed. They obviously don't want to be turned into like a tourist attraction. And Otho finds the handbook and he's kind of being all sort of like serious and, scheming about it. Beetlejuice appears.
He keeps trying to get people to like, say my name, oh please, baby, say my name 3 times. And then everyone's like, nah, man,
You're
gross, you're bogging, you're annoying.
That's it. He's
Stop
annoying.
it.
That's the like. See when you're saying that, but like I knew that Beetlejuice was going to be like scary and spooky, but I think that's the thing. It's like he's just so annoying.
But I love it.
He's amazing.
Who was Beetlejuice before he died. Because he's obviously dead.
Well, remember, Juno says that he was her assistant in terms of helping the dead, and that then he went off and became freelance and became a bit of a rogue, and now they don't like associate with him anymore. So like he obviously started off quite normal, and then somehow in death has become like
A
more
rogue.
and more.
Is he just Dr. Jacoby when he dies?
My God, I could see that. Sorry, that's a Twin Peaks reference that's quite specific.
It also has a reference to the proposed title for the sequel to Beetlejuice that never got made. There's a little connection there.
Interesting.
Yeah, so who was he when he was alive? You know, was he just a completely sound, normal guy? Was he basically like Brad from fucking, what's it called again?
Rocky Horror.
Yeah. Was he just Brad? And then he's just like, death has made him go insane.
Absolutely bananas. Maybe he was just like sick
How
of
did he
listening to
die?
Juno all the time.
How did he die? You know?
Well, so there is a reference at one point, Otho says offhandedly, apparently like if you kill yourself, you become a civil servant in the afterlife. And then when you see like all the people who work in the afterlife as like staff essentially, so like the
Oh, there's a guy who'd like hung
receptionist makes a
himself.
comment. Yeah, there's a guy there who's like swinging about because he's hung himself. There's the guy who's been flattened, so there's obviously like an implication there. So all of them seem to. So does that mean that then that's what happened to Beetlejuice if he was at one point one of them?
That's kind of shocking.
It's kind of the implied narrative there is pretty horrific.
Yeah.
This film is like so fun and light, and then it's got some really dark implications.
Aye.
Yeah, it's kind of what Burton does, though, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like he takes the darkest you can and just kind of makes it all like accessible. I get in the best sense. It makes it just very, I don't know, hilarious and kind of a vibe. While still being scary, but still and spooky, but being funny and wholesome, and at worst makes it really twee and sickly to look at. But he does it quite well here.
At best makes it twee and sickly. I love it.
So Beetlejuice
It's so
reappears. No one invited him. No one asked.
Yeah, it's
Nobody
great.
asked him to do this. He just starts going mental. He turns into this big snake thing, and he's just chucking folk about. And like people are, you know, like actually seriously, like almost getting hurt, being dropped down entire flights of stairs and all this kind of thing. But Lydia thinks, because she doesn't know who Beetlejuice is, she doesn't know anything about Beetlejuice. She assumes that this is the Maitlands continuing their
going
haunting
mental.
and just like going mental and being horrible to her. So she gets dead upset about it, which is fair.
Yeah, you would think
Okay,
that.
that
Why would
makes
you
more-
think anything else?
See, that makes more sense because when I was watching it the other time, I sort of get upset. I was like, "Why is she upset? What's happened? What's going on?" I was getting annoyed. I was like, "What's happening?"
So this time they get summoned to this afterlife place where apparently they're so busy that they can only see you 3 times for your entire kind of purgatory period. They're just like, get them back back in here.
You two, what the fuck is going on? Beetlejuice, like get right.
Beetlejuice, photos of us, man. Like just
Like she just sits like it's like literally getting called into the teacher's office. She's just like, one use of resurrected Beetlejuice, nice one, great. He was. What do you think of him, by the way?
He's a nightmare,
cool guy,
isn't
sound guy.
Yeah,
Aye,
your
right.
new pal, amazing, lovely, great guys.
This is exactly like your, again, bringing it back to the gaff. This is like your best pal. You're steaming. You've brought this rogue back from the club into your gaff. He won't leave. He's just like harassing all the lassies. He's fighting with the guys. He's stealing shit. And your best pal pulls you aside and they're just like, right, okay, look, this guy's here. Congratulations on that. Everyone keeps taking photos. Like, why? He's taking photos of everyone. What's going on? You're like, get him out your fucking gaff. Then he do
I
this.
might actually.
This would have been like
deliberately-
if I had remember that guy in York.
Oh fuck.
I made
yeah.
a best friend for the night. It was just this random guy who was cutting about, and he kept being like, "I don't have a phone charger. Can I hang out with you and your pals?" And I was just a bit steaming. And I just thought he was lovely, and I was like, "Oh, friend, nice
Yeah, and
guy."
I was like, doing the whole, "Oh yeah, cool," but then also be like, "Is this all right? What's going on?" Making that kind of.
nothing weird happened, but he just was
Well, he
like,
kept asking. Well,
He was an old man.
He was another guy, and he kept saying, "Oh, you remind me of my daughter." And he kept, "Oh, can I come back to yours so I can charge the phone?" Oh, come on, it'll be fine. I'll leave soon. And we were just like, "No." And then the next day you woke up, you're like, he probably wasn't. That probably wasn't good, eh? And I was like, yes, Jesus. We tried so hard not to.
he would have been Beetlejuice If we had
He had a Beetlejuice your night.
because he actually didn't do really anything
No, he
like
didn't.
untoward.
No, he didn't.
He was fine.
He was just a bit too.
But it was, the
He was
fact that
too
he was there
friendly.
tall,
Aye.
the fact that he was there tall was like just a bit, offbeat.
And also,
Um,
he definitely would have tried to go for a wee winch sitting on a couch.
I
He'd be
just-
like, oh god.
But that was it. He just started to get a little bit insistent about coming back to our friend's house at the end. And, I'm just like, okay. And then everyone's like, maybe not. And I think you just took me aside and you were like, why don't you just leave this as like a nice memory?
because to him this might be. Maybe he's going through a wee midlife crisis, and he thinks you're as we fling salvation, and as we fling salvation. Of course,
I just thought I'd made a pal.
You thought you'd made a pal.
You should have set me up with the steps on. I don't know.
See, I guess Beetlejuice never would have worked on me because I was out on a night out and this like guy came and he was like, oh guys, like this is my first time, like my first night ever in Glasgow. I'm living here now. I've just been told so much about how all the people in Glasgow are like the friendliest folk you'll ever meet in your life. Like I was really bigging this up. And like, my pals were, I guess, going to an afters or going to another bar or something like that. And he was like, right, where are we going next? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I was just wondering where we're going next. I was like, you're not coming anywhere, mate. And he was like, and he thought I was kidding. So he was like, that's hilarious. And I was like, no, I'm not joking. Like, fuck off. Like,
Who was
please.
this guy?
He was just like a random English guy who'd approached me in the middle of the street and insisted on coming on our night out. And I was like, I don't want this. No, I'm sorry.
That's a bit much.
Aye, it is a bit much.
Oh,
like,
Glasgow folks so friendly. So can I hang out with you?
No.
That's really putting you in the position to
I
be
just
an
never-
asshole if you say no.
I just never
One-
trust a man in a suit by himself at like 2 a.m. What's that about? Like
That
rogue.
it would also happen
Not in a good
to
way.
me and our good friend Rachel Campbell. There was this really weird guy with weird energy, but he like looked completely normal. And then as he approached, you're like, "There's something off about you." But he was just like wearing a suit, and he just seemed like a little bit like frantic. And he hit on both of us, but like at the same time. But he said like, "I'm sorry," because we were just waiting to cross. We were having a really intense, like, deep conversation about life, right? And we're like waiting to cross the street. We're standing at the traffic lights. I was like, I think that guy's coming over to talk to us. And I was like, he's probably going to ask for directions or something because he just walked towards us suddenly with such purpose. He had a briefcase, really weird, and he was just like, "I'm sorry to interrupt your conversation. It looks like you're really, in the middle of something. But I couldn't help but notice you guys from over there, and I wondered if I could take one of you lovely ladies out for a drink." One of us. We're supposed to like decide amongst ourselves, and the other person just gets left. And then I said, "Sorry, we both got boyfriends," because that's just the lie that you tell when you're being harassed in the street. And he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, failing that, do you know where the Natural Art Museum is? I've got to be there in 10 minutes." And I was like, "What?" What?
Was this done broad daylight as well?
Yeah, this was at like 3:00 in the afternoon
Interesting.
on easily 45.
Yeah, interesting.
Really clean shaven, really like put together. Looked like once he actually approached madness in his eyes. Like it just
See
what
that?
like
Actual Patrick
and, like,
Patrick
genuinely-
Bateman.
he was like on the way somewhere before he saw us. So like it wasn't as if that like the history
What
museum
kind
thing was
of-
like saving face. He did seem to really be going there.
What kind of person is has so much confidence and madness in them that they see someone and they don't take a second to be like, oh, shall I do this? I'm not sure. Like that's mad. That you don't go like, because everybody at some point has thought about or asked somebody that they've never met before on a date, just by looking at them, right? But I don't think anybody has ever done that so quickly.
Yeah, on the move.
Like, actually, do you know what? And either you, whatever will work.
Like you can admire it to a point.
No, you can't.
No, let me finish.
You would.
You admire it up to a point until after he's asked it, and then he just does that awkward.
Yeah, and then
And
he
you're like,
actually
oh,
asked
this
us,
is
he
insane.
actually did ask us for directions. I had to stand
So
and be
funny.
like, yeah, if you just go down
That's so
here and
funny.
then that way, and just until we are very tiny dots in the distance, and then get on a train and fuck off. Like, oh, hate it. But
So that's our Beetlejuices.
yeah, those are our respective Beetlejuices. And yeah, so they're getting a row because they've resurrected Beetlejuice. They've allowed themselves to be photographed, and they're starting to prove the existence of dead people, the existence of dead people, the existence of life after death.
Yes.
Everyone knew dead people existed. That wasn't a secret. But they also, at this point, learned that Otho has stolen the handbook for the dead, which is like a big no-no. Which, I mean, like, I feel like if the afterlife doesn't want humans to find the handbook for the dead, it shouldn't be a physical thing that just, I mean, think about all the people who die.
Get them a
There would be,
ghost book.
it would be like more than like Bibles. Do you know what I mean? Like way more than Bibles. Where are all these handbooks for the dead that are just apparently materialized?
That you can apparently.
Yeah.
Or is it that you can't really see it unless you're dead, but the like implied narrative that Otho is also strange and unusual?
I mean, that wouldn't
He is
surprise
strange
me.
and
He's
unusual,
a
isn't
bit
Strange
strange.
and
He's
unusual.
probably my second rogue.
Yeah, he is very roguish. So Juno is like, right, you just need to step up. The sheet thing was pathetic. Like, be better than that. So then they're like, oh yeah, cool. I can like literally mold my face into this absolute horror show. It's just like when Swanny just starts to do like faces to try and freak you out. You're getting more and more obscene.
I ain't doing any right now. You ain't getting that reaction from me. So you can edit this clip out. Move on. Right. 20p.
20p
Seems to be the running price that we're paying for
the jester.
for the jester. 20p a go.
But yeah, they and again these faces are kind of iconic. Like they mold their faces into these absolute and they've got like eyeballs coming out of their
Yeah, it's
tongues and like
Frankenweenie, isn't it?
it's scary shit.
He
Well,
turned his face into
scary.
Frankenweenie.
Kinda, yeah, ish. I don't know if Frankenweenie came.
After.
After.
No, not necessarily. Frankenweenie was originally
Oh.
a live action short film that's on the extras DVD. I think it's one of the first things he made actually. So I think it was before.
That's cool.
So it might have been inspired by
yeah, we really
Frankenweenie.
kind of like nod to that.
Mhm.
But yeah, so she's like, okay, cool. That seems right. That seems fair. On you go back to the house. So they go back to whatever other plane of existence that this house exists in. And meanwhile, Lydia's just like writing a suicide note.
Oh yeah, she's fully going, yeah, I want to die. Death looks cool. It's like, right, can we check this? Like, hey, listen, it is cool, but also don't you go kill yourself because that's a terrible message to put into this film about like this kind of family film.
Oh yeah, and she'd be a 14-year-old civil servant.
Oh, that would suck.
Mm-hmm. Poor wee lassie.
Lassie. But yeah, she's just gutted because she thinks that like, you know, she seems to identify and like feel nurtured a lot more by the ghosts
Aye.
couple than by her own parents. So she seems very disconnected from. And she thinks that they have tried to like kill her essentially last night, but it was actually Beetlejuice. So yeah, she's pretty gutted. She's not chuffed with what's
She's
happened.
She's not pleased.
So that's all going on. So Beetlejuice is then kind of trying to entice Lydia into like resurrecting him.
Say my name, Zach. Come on. It's fucking, aye. He does that.
But
A lot.
Yeah, that's like kind of his whole bit in it.
Yeah.
Say my
do
name.
you know what? That Beetlejuice joke would work if folk kept saying Beetlegeese, Beetleglass, Beetlegoose. That'd be funny. There's a joke. But no, they don't. They all just go, Beetlejuice. You're like, don't then fucking spell it Beetlejuice. Oh, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Can't believe how angry this has made
'Cause
you.
It's emblematic of my issues with this film. I really like certain parts of it. It's really silly. And then it just does something baffling. And I'm like, that's not in the context of what you were doing.
Strange and unusual.
Yeah, but not in a fucking good way. Just in a, that feels like it needs a rewrite.
But
That's,
as with most times in this film, Lydia's just like brighter than everyone else because she's just like, oh, you've got a stripy blazer on, it's like black and white, and you look a bit like that snake that tried to kill me last night. That was you, wasn't it? You're a dick. I'm not
Saying your name.
resurrecting you. You can fuck off.
He's raging. So
Oh,
he's
he's-
kicking the shit out of the model.
Yeah. Just
Like-
going absolutely mental. At what point as well was like the brothel bit? Because that was wild. I can't place where in the Beetlejuice resurrection things, but he's just an actual fiend.
He's
Yeah.
a
He
fiend.
is.
That's
And
why he's the
not in
rogue.
like a fun way. And
Yeah,
like
exactly.
lock him up.
Because it starts as like, oh, it's gonna be kind of funny. He's like, your weird, creepy uncle. It's like, oh yeah, you're a hottie. Then he never says anything again. You can see that as like an archetype. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's a bit weird, but fine. It's just,
It's
weird.
a very archetype of the kind of 80s and
yeah,
90s.
oh, weird Uncle Al. But now it's weird Uncle Al, leave. You know what I mean? It goes from like ha 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 to very quickly, and he won't stop. It's
He is
unrelenting.
actually like
And this is him toned down.
a molester.
Yeah, he is. And this is him toned down from like the original script. Or there's a book maybe. Is there a book? I think there's maybe a book on this. I don't know. But basically, the original one. It's not just because eventually he, spoilers, tries to marry Lydia. Because that's part of his thing. If he can get married after have his name out, then he's free to roam loose around the living world. The original one, it's like he's got to sleep with her. And it's like, ooh, how do we translate that? Like that isn't
also
shocking to watch.
Beetlejuice the musical, which I honestly know nothing about. They're like pals in that.
What?
Beetlejuice is like, I think, meant to be a much more sympathetic character. He's kind of like the protagonist of Beetlejuice.
It's kind of like with
the
the Terminator. Like Terminator 1, he's the villain. Every other one, he's like their pal.
It's like a much different telling of this story, I think, basically, in which like I'm pretty sure Lydia and Beetlejuice are like friends.
Do you know what? I might have truck with that. I'd like to see that. I'll actually do it's a musical with Beetlejuice. No. Ask me. Magic 8 Ball, any day of the week. Will Swanny be into watching Beetlejuice-related stuff today? Propaganda. Jesus.
Beetlejuice-related propaganda.
I feel like he's been propaganda. No.
I love how I'm like, how dare you suggest that there would ever be such thing as Beetlejuice-related propaganda in our lives?
I'm getting it thrown at me. I'm just fighting against the state.
It's your oppositional defiance disorder. I'm like, you love Beetlejuice. You're like, fucking Willa.
No, but sometimes you do say that. Also, wait now. Where's the E? Oh, there it is. Like, cool. I was about to freak out. I was about to, what you did spell
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
But no, so yeah, she's like, nah, piss off. But because Otho has the handbook for the recently deceased, he's also at this point like, oh yeah, I'm super spiritualist and I know stuff about ghosts and I can speak to the dead and all this sort of stuff. So they decide to do a sort of seance type thing to try and contact the Maitlands. They're trying to bully them into like taking part in their plans. So they lay out their old wedding clothes and they have to have something that's like close to them, and they start trying to like conjure the spirits. But I don't know whether he means to exorcise them. I don't think so, because they want them in the house still. But I think he's just trying to like, bring them back in a way that he can control them. I think
that's what it is. He's trying to bring them in to be to show off. But they're trying to prove to the other older folk that there are real ghosts.
Yeah, because they've got a business investor there.
Investors, that's it.
And the ghosts are not coming out and not going, ooh, not putting their sheets on or anything like that. But
Otho manages to get that, and it's generally some spooky stuff. They come floating out into their dresses.
They sort of like rise up, looking like they're sort of normal ghostly selves at first. And then they start to like crumble and like become decrepit. And
he looked shy, but she looked really good.
Yeah.
His was like, can we do something? And hers was, that's actually effective.
They obviously are like dying essentially. So Lydia, again, death.
They're about to get sent into the exorcism door in the underworld.
Yeah, they're
to
going
be
to
a green blob forever. And they didn't deserve it.
No, they've done nothing wrong. But yeah,
not being scary enough. Actually, fuck it. I go in there for four millennium. That'll teach you how to be fucking scary enough, man.
But yeah,
next
Lydia.
Time you come out, you'll be screaming at them.
Lydia starts freaking out because she's like, my pals, no, did he die or more?
And her mum's like,
shut up.
Like, Jesus, mum.
It'll be cringe.
Stop it.
But she starts freaking out, so she runs and she's like, well, if there was ever a time to summon Beetlejuice, it would probably be this. So
he's
she
buzzing for it.
Brings Beetlejuice back, and if you thought he was a lot before, he's literally like,
show that baby, and he just fucking goes for it. I love it.
Turns into things. Turned into like a carnival ride at one point.
Yeah,
it's literally like the wolves in Twilight. Like every time they get excited, they turn into a wolf. Every time that Beetlejuice gets excited, he turns into like a theme park.
See, this is where I see like this is where I see all the kind of change into stuff. That's where I see very much Evil Dead references, or like all these old stop motion films, like the old stop motion monsters. It's like we go, cool, let's just get a bunch of stop motions. Creatures rolling out concept wise. It annoys me a little bit because I'm like, I'd rather we were just fighting Beetlejuice, or at least have his voice over it, speaking out of it. But I like it. It's not too long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. But I just really enjoy Michael Keaton's performance.
But yeah, as we've mentioned before, Beetlejuice's one condition to coming back to help save the Maitlands is that Lydia has to marry him.
Yeah.
I mean, not great.
No.
Beetlejuice,
Not great.
not great.
Not
And
what I
there-
usually go for.
not what I usually go for. And there is a kind of plot point involved where it's like that's his key to freedom, as we've said, and then he can just roam about and be a menace wherever he likes. But you're also still trying to marry like a 14-year-old lassie, and I don't think we can condone that.
No, it's not
probably
cool.
Not.
Nah.
Not
No,
good.
actually, do you know, I'm actually going to come out and say I don't think that's okay.
Weird take.
That is, I'm proud of you for that. That was brave.
Yeah, brave.
But yeah, so he manages to save the Maitlands. They're no longer crumbling and decrepit.
She does wear a really fucking cool wedding dress, though.
I did wear this for Halloween.
And he
It's
does,
such a good
and he
outfit.
does wear the. What's his outfit again? It's like checked, or it's like some. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
She wears
I
like
think I feel like he wears something distinctive in this scene that I quite like. But I liked what's the word for it? I do. I like it's kind of almost like, as we said, that kind of Count Olaf violet.
Yeah, well, actually, we said Count Olaf about a completely different character, but I was sitting there thinking, I was like, well, this is kind of very similar to sort of where that
Plot
plot
line.
goes. And then again, in the same sort of delivery of this sort of quick-witted, like sort of saying things under your breath, but, you know, everything's very tongue-in-cheek, but also underneath it all very disturbing.
yeah.
So he's trying to get this very quick wedding going, and he keeps making all these jokes and things about shotgun wedding and all this sort of things, and like, oh, the bride and the groom and blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, everyone's just like, please stop this. This is insane. Stop it. But he's got all these kind of like parlor tricks and ways of like, they're trying to say his name 3 times to put him back from whence he came. And he's got it so that like she's saying Beetlejuice, and then her mouth is like covered over with like a metal grate.
How does she come back to life? How do they come back to life at that point?
I think he just interrupts the seance
Yeah.
Right.
and causes havoc and just generally
Annoying.
Beetlejuicy. He just annoys them
He
back to life.
juices all over the exorcism.
Yeah, essentially. And he's trying to get through. He actually does this sort of like vocal projection thing as well, where like he's got it so that, you know, he's making Lydia speak. Like he's like zipped her mouth or whatever, and then he's like got her to do the other side of like the wedding vows. And as it's all just like coming to a head, the sandworm from what's it called?
From Dune, Arrakhis.
From Arrakhis saves the day.
Yeah.
Eats them.
That's why the sandworm exists.
Yeah.
That's why there's another dimension outside. So that, like, just when everything was about to go wrong, this actual monstrous thing
Was just like,
would just
right, that's enough.
eat him.
Aye. The sandworm is the polis when the fucking thief from the Gaff takes it too far. And he's just like, right, man, you're going home. Spending the
You've
night in the
enough.
jail.
You've had enough. Trying to marry a 14-year-old lassie.
Jesus Christ, man.
That's a rough night, pal. I think you've had enough to drink.
I had one too many. Beatly.
Eating the cells will do you
Full
good,
of
man.
juice. One too many juices.
It's another rogue I met on a night out once. I accidentally joined a hen party on a night out because these women were just really friendly and lovely, and there was an old guy sitting there, and I assumed he was like somebody's dad or uncle or something, but obviously they all knew each other, and he just looked a bit out of place, so I spent like an hour chatting to him, and I was like, who do you know? Who are you here for? He was like, oh, I'm like you, I just bumped into these lassies. I was like, all right.
Oh, I better go.
cool. He's like, it's nice to be out. I was like, yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
Oh, God.
I've never given someone something
Oh,
nice
no.
to be out.
I was like, it's
Although
lovely.
I say that all the time,
love-
so
love it.
shit.
Love coming out for a wee drink. And he's like, no, like out the jail. And I was like, all right.
Oh, no.
What were you in jail for? And he was just like, oh, like it was attempted murder. And I was like, right. Okay. And we're both like sitting wearing sashes there Kevin for this hen party that I was just like, because I had like 2 hours to kill before I met my pals or something like that. So I just thought, oh, I'll just go out and get a wee drink. And I'm just, you know, I think I had like selfies with this guy and I'm having a great wee time. I just think he's somebody's like fun grandpa. And I'm just like, nah, just a random stranger
to
that's
jail.
just got out the jail.
Only
First night out.
tempted.
But yeah. So
I was
many
tempted
Beetlejuices
by
out there,
murder.
man. He was actually he was a really lovely guy though.
Gavin.
I think it was a misunderstanding. I don't know. But nice guy. I want to tell more of this story, but then I'm just like, am I actually just going to like get found for this?
Aye, maybe Dunny.
Maybe don't.
Don't
Hunted.
talk about the attempted murder guy on the podcast, please.
But yeah, so Beetlejuice has been munched. And that's it. done for Beetlejuice, and we go back to a sort of like strange, but then nothing's really been resolved, it would seem, because they're still in the same position as they were before. The Maitlands are still living in their house that they died in, and the Dietzes are still there. But we get like a kind of epilogue scene, which is really nice, where Lydia's like gone to school and she's still a wee freak, but she seems to be getting on with people. They seem to appreciate the fact that she's a wee freak. And she comes in and she's like, oh, I got a C in my biology test. I didn't want to cut up frogs. That's gross. So you've got the Maitlands being like the sort of fun, wholesome parents. And they're like, okay, well, and then they're like, the deal is if she did well in her exams and stuff like that, then she would get to do a bit of, being possessed. So that's fun. No, she gets a C in biology, but she gets like an A in something else.
Yes.
So, they're like, wee scamp. Cool. I'll possess you today. That's fine. But you can see that half of the house is done like in the style of the Maitlands, where it's like very sort of like Americana, like homely. And then the other half just looks like an absolute like sleep paralysis nightmare. So that's obviously her parents' side of things. And they dance to Shake Sonora? No,
Jump in the
Line. That's it.
Again, why?
Because it's fun.
I love
and it's
Jump
nice.
in the Line.
Yeah, I like the song too.
It's just
Yeah,
cute.
it's cute.
I think it's like the kind of like, well, literally you said it's like the kind of like song that you would like dance about with to your family in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though
Why
they're
is that in
ghosting,
my
it's
horror
creepy.
why is that my-
But it's not
It's
a
not a
horror
horror
film.
film.
Swanny.
Why
It's
is that
not a
my-
horror film.
Why is
It's
that
a-
my wee grossy comedy?
It's
both.
a cozy, spooky film about families and love and like parents.
Love? It's about love? Who's in
yeah.
love?
The parents
Maitlands.
with the Maitlands are in love.
What do they learn about love? What are you talking about love?
You,
Who hurt you?
Jesus Christ, man.
Me.
The Maitland, well, fucking Barbara can't have kids, and then she's been gifted this child.
All right, I'll take
In
that.
death.
So they
Oh,
in
yeah,
death,
I'll take that. That's fine. You give me-
and like loves
take
her.
that.
So
They just
they're
have a normal family
they're
life.
like
That's
just
nice.
kind
I'll
of
take that. Yeah.
they're bonding through music and dance
Yeah.
and hanging out,
I just-
and they've got co-parenting families that all love her very much. It's all sweet. It's all about love.
Maybe that's why I
It's all
like this
about
film so
love.
much. I'm just like, oh, how nice the families come together
Yeah,
and
no,
they
no.
co-parent and
Yeah,
it's really
yeah,
healthy.
that's so cute.
It's lovely.
Yeah,
I
it's
just don't
nice.
get the music choices, but that's fine.
Anyway,
I don't get you.
the argument I would make about the music choices is it's not like boom, 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 spooky, scary. It's just
I
like
don't want that.
it's cute. Like, it's just like cute music that you would listen to with your family, make a wee silly dance.
It's
to.
nice as well because
Yeah,
it's
I
like
guess.
it kind of the complete opposite vibe to the stylistic choices of it.
Yeah.
It's all very kind of dark and like your jumper, it's like greens and blacks and whites and purples and stuff like that. And then you've got Harry Belafonte who's super upbeat and stuff like that. So it's just a wee bit of juxtaposition, which
Yeah.
is super similar
No,
to
no, I get
most
you.
of the stuff that he does. Like Nightmare Before Christmas is like got that spooky vibe, but all the songs are really upbeat and stuff like that. They don't really have spooky songs.
Yeah, I just
That's his whole vibe. That's Tim Burton's thing.
it baffles me a little bit. I get it, but I don't fully get it, and that's fine. That's fine. I still do like it.
So that brings us on to our ratings.
Yes.
We finished the film.
How before we end, sorry, how do we see the parents at the end? I've totally forgot.
I don't know
They're
whether
all just
you
hanging
see,
about,
yeah,
going
everyone's
through their
hanging
day.
out. So you definitely see the Maitlands sitting with Lydia, and
Yeah.
I think the other parents are like just like listening. They hear the song come on, and they're like, oh, like they're just enjoying their wee lives. I think maybe she's doing something. I can't really remember. She might be doing something kind of like artsy or like sculpting or whatever. He's just sitting in his office, just like,
They're all just enjoying themselves.
yeah, everyone's just
Awesome.
having a pleasant,
Lovely.
lovely time.
My rating would be an 8 out of 10. I love Tim Burton. I love all the vibes. I think that there's definitely Tim Burton films I like more, but this one's still really, really good, high up in my estimations. But like a lot of his are like a 9 or 10 for me because he's like probably my favourite director. Just like typical classic, I've been a goth since I was 12 vibes. But yeah, I really love Beetlejuice. I like the music a lot. I like the stylish choices, the costumes. I love all the actors like Michael Keaton, Catherine O'Hara, like fucking class. What am I going to complain about? 8 out of 10. Pretty
Nice.
good.
Solid.
Also, fucking, what is it called? Tattooing's getting a point off. That's why, because I'm just like, why is that there? Otherwise, it's great.
Yeah, it's. I think I get conflicted with the rating for this film, but I'll probably go with a 7, even though I'm feeling 6ish towards it right now. I know it's not a 6 because that's why I gave Twilight and New Moon. It's definitely better than Twilight and New Moon.
I love how that's
Playing
become
that
your
joke.
yardstick for everything.
What's it? What?
Can't rate it lower. I can't rate it higher than Twilight.
Well, I do a lot of... Obviously, people do say this whole thing of, you got to rate it within itself. Is it a 10 out of 10 within itself? I don't believe in that. There's 10 out of 10 films and there's 9 out of 10 films. And that's how I look at it. And I can understand the holistic. Do any film individually? Yeah, cool. But then everything gets a fucking 5-star because you think they get vibes that... This is especially like Roger Ebert's scores. Like, how many fucking 10 out of 10s can you have, Roger? Jesus Christ. Anyway...
I think you can have as many 10 out of 10s as you want.
Oh no, you can have as many as long as you. Yeah.
How many 10 out of 10s have I had?
Yeah, but
Send him a fucking Beetlejuice jumper. Like, how am I going to justify giving this a 9 now?
what I mean is,
I turn around to Abby and she's like, it's like a 4. It's alright.
no, I just mean.
Didn't love the music.
No, I mean,
actors a bit shy.
On that particular ethos of it, I don't know how I feel.
I think I was in a fever dream when I knitted this.
Starts taking off to reveal my Beetlejuice t-shirt underneath.
Like, this isn't even mine. Who am I?
Where am I?
7 out of 10. I do really enjoy it.
Just not tonight, apparently.
I know it's a weird one. It does baffle me a little bit. Of all the films I've seen, it's one that just.
Swanny's been possessed by the Halloween Scrooge.
No, because I do like it. It's a 7, and a 7's good, and it's not a 6.
So it's a 7.
Yeah, but is it? No, it baffles me a little bit. I just don't fully get it.
Okay,
it's a 6.5. Great.
No, I don't believe in that. So it's a 7.
It's a 7.
Okay,
it's
great.
obviously a 10 for me.
Yeah,
clearly,
absolutely.
Obviously,
no, look, it is vibes. It annoys me. Yeah, I don't know why I struggle with this one.
It's the vibes. It's camp, it's silly, it's fun, it's a bit spooky, it's cozy, it's like warm, it's colourful, it's like inexplicable at times. There's a kind of weird darkness to it. It's like a little bit tongue in cheek. It feels like it works for kids and for adults. And yeah, it like I don't know. It's like a feel good film.
It's
for
not
me.
stressful.
Always puts me in a good mood.
Stresses me out.
Everything stresses you.
No,
out.
no, I don't. A lot of films don't. Beetlejuice is one of the ones that does for some reason.
Can I finish?
Yeah, of course. Sorry,
Thank
you just
you
made a
so
comment about me.
What?
Oh no, you didn't. You made a comment that I thought was funny to make a joke about. That's what I meant. Yeah.
I said it's not stressful. You know, it just like it fires right into it. It doesn't piss about with the plot. It just goes right into it, and then you get the story, and it's great. And you've got just enough of everything in it as well, like enough of all of the characters, and yeah, it's great. Love it. Class.
Yeah.
No, it is good.
The rogue. So every week we pick a rogue for our rogues gallery. That's the person who's the most sort of like out of place or has the biggest implied narrative. Just generally the person that you kind of go, what the fuck are they doing? Mm-hmm. Which I don't think we've ever really had like we had Tommy Wiseau when it was The Sims.
So funny to think of that as The Sims. It's such a good take.
Tommy Wiseau in Sims the movie.
Yeah, no, I will go back to that. I think it has to be Beetlejuice because you're expecting Beetlejuice to be spooky. Oh, he's going to train them how to be really scary ghosts. And honestly, maybe it would have been a better coherent film if that had happened. But there's something amazing that it doesn't, and it just goes fucking fuck off. We're going to go wacky, and then we're going to go weird, and we're going to go creepy.
At the end of every take, Michael Keaton must have been shattered.
Yeah, just like
imagine he just had
sick
a good
of
night's
himself
sleep every night.
Yeah, just absolutely sick of himself. Like I never want to hear myself talk again.
That's how I feel after these podcasts. Literally, is it not every single time in the car on the way home? I'm like,
Beetlejuice at every fucking
honestly,
week. Man.
I want to be in a
that.
sensory deprivation tank.
I've been working today. I've done 3 tours today, and I knew I was coming to the podcast. And I was just like, I'm so sick of talking.
Quick fire questions.
So is Beetlejuice our rogue? Is that agreed?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
cool.
so. If we picked someone else, it would
Or
just
the
be like we were trying
sandworm.
not to make it Beetlejuice. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
or the sandworm.
Or the dog.
or the dog.
I'll go for Beetlejuice.
We'll go for
It was
Beetlejuice.
Okay. So yeah, quick fire questions. You had today's.
Yes. Okay, so you said that there was going to be a Beetlejuice sequel, and they're
now
thinking
one
about
coming out.
they're actually going to do one now. I don't know if there is a cast for it, but who would you make as your not fun cast, but your like cringy cast, like the worst fucking like film production company has picked up Beetlejuice 2, and they're just casting the absolute most shocking characters. Who's playing who? Who's playing Beetlejuice, first of all?
Okay,
Let's
who's
start with
playing
that.
Timothy
Beetlejuice?
Chalamet.
It would be Timothy Chalamet.
That would be absolutely
It would be.
terrible. Or Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland
as
Joker
Beetlejuice.
makeup.
That'd be shocking. Jared Leto.
Jared Leto's Beetlejuice.
Jared
That'd
Leto
probably
is-
be quite good though, but like not fun.
No, it would not be good. It would be
Benedict
really bad.
Cumberbatch's Beetlejuice.
Oh,
That'd be
that's
boring.
bad.
That'd
That
be
is bad.
right.
Sickly.
Ooh, Benedict Cumberbatch as Beetlejuice is pretty bad.
I
That's
think I still think
upsetting.
Timothy Chalamet would be worse, but
I
James Corden would be the main Adam Maitland.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then somebody like
Oh,
really twee instead of Gina Davis.
twee. Who could it be?
Lily James.
Lily James. Oh my God, Lily James. It wouldn't be James Corden then. It would
No.
be. It would be. So we've got Lily James as
James Corden is Otho.
yes.
James Corden is Ortho, 100%. So you've got Lily James as Gina Davis, and then Alec Baldwin's character would be. Imagine if it was just Alec Baldwin again, but just the way he is now.
Yeah, in light of everything. Who would play him? Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. I say that.
Channing Tatum and Lily James
Yeah.
as the Maitlands. Who would play Catherine O'Hara's character? Someone who's like out there. And
No,
is, like,
I think, do you know what? I take it back. Not Channing Tatum. He's not really that relevant anymore. It would be Tom Holland. Tom Holland would be playing Alec Baldwin's role,
yeah.
and it would be shocking.
No,
Chris
no,
Evans.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles.
Oh,
Harry
it
Styles
would.
and Lily
Oh,
James.
it would. Oh, you're
Oh
so
my
bad.
God.
That'd be
Oh.
banging. With
Harry Styles.
Timothy Chalamet is
It's
fucking.
Beetlejuice. No, Benedict Cumberbatch is
Benedict,
Beetlejuice.
yeah, okay, with
Benedict
that,
Cumberbatch
that'll be
is Beetlejuice.
weirder.
And then you've got those
Who's
two.
Lydia?
Lydia would be.
Oh,
They would. You know for a fact they would just cast the lassie that plays Wednesday Addams, and that's not me casting
Yeah,
this person's
Jenna
on her at
Ortega.
all.
yeah.
But they would just cast her.
No, they
Wait,
wouldn't.
they
but-
have.
As Lydia? Already? You can't be Wednesday and Lydia. That's too much.
No, I think they actually
can
have
see
done
it.
that. I'm checking now. I think that's where I got that idea from, because I think that might be what's happened.
Anyway, while you're looking that up, do you want to know what the actual sequel, the original planned sequel to Beetlejuice was called?
What?
Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
What does that mean?
Don't know, man. Don't know. That was actually at one point when I thought it made sense, because I went,
What do you
Because the
mean?
music
So-
is Hawaiian, but it's not Hawaiian.
It's not Hawaiian.
No. I don't know why. It was like one
Not
of
even
those
a little
weird
bit.
memories.
The actual Beetlejuice 2, Winona Ryder is, I guess, an older Lydia Dietz, and Jenna Ortega was playing her daughter.
Okay, that's cool.
No, it's not. Because she's already Wednesday. You can't be Wednesday and Lydia's
It's like
daughter.
the most blatant typecasting of all
Oh,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course it is. But she'll enjoy it and get a lot of money.
So who else have we not cast yet? We needed to cast
we need
Catherine
Catherine O'Hara and
Yeah,
the,
cast
and the
everyone?
Da.
Yes, like an ensemble cast. So.
All right, sorry. I thought you meant from like, I think all the bit. Right, no. Yeah,
Catherine O'Hara would be that woman who kind of speaks kind of like this. You know who I'm talking about?
I do, but I don't.
Do you know what's her name, man? That's gonna really annoy me. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Like
She's got a very, very distinctive voice.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like you need someone that's more like
This isn't good.
shrill.
This film is bad.
Yeah.
This
but
is the point.
Okay. Yeah, I could see, Jennifer Coolidge as Delia Dietz. And then who would be the Da?
Oh, fucking.
Swanny.
Just inexplicably.
Aye, go for
I
it.
don't know. He's like the kind of shite one, isn't he? So
Yeah.
I guess anyone could play him.
Simon Pegg. You can play him, I guess.
I actually could see
Or
that.
John C. Riley. Or was that guy John McGinley?
Adam Sandler.
I was thinking Adam Sandler. John McGinley would be terrible.
One
at
of
it.
the like Hangover boys,
McGinley?
or one of the like knocked up folk, like fucking what?
Seth Rogen.
Seth
Or Will
Rogen.
Farrell.
Will Ferrell.
Ferrell and Jennifer Coolidge. Oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah, that would be it.
That should be
Wouldn't it?
kind of good.
And it'd be like, it'd be shocking. It'd be so horrible. And Benedict Cumberbatch, like, but he's oh my god, but he's playing Beetlejuice like Sherlock.
This has been such a recurring joke recently. of
Actually, so
anything. Oh yeah,
upsetting.
imagine, but it's played like Sherlock is by what's his name?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh fucking.
That would be insane.
Hate it. Terrible. Don't care. Oh, the rest of it's cool. Oh,
So, yeah,
I don't give a shit. Sherlock.
That's our shock cast.
That's our
The remake of Beetlejuice.
Our nightmare Beetlejuice rotation.
Yeah, Nightmare Beetle, absolutely. Michael Keaton's favourite film of his own, which you can understand.
More than the Batman's.
Yeah, it's just apparently his favourite film of his own. He probably has some issues with the Batman films, and also I feel like he's annoyed that he didn't get to come back and do a third one with Tim Burton, so you can understand that. What's the word for it? The studio originally wanted to call the film, listen to this, House Ghosts.
That's shocking.
That's literally like Kevin Bridges' joke about like house race.
House race.
House
So,
ghosts.
as a joke, Tim Burton suggested the name Scared Sheetless and was horrified when the studio actually considered using it. I think Scared Sheetless is quite funny.
It's a bit better. It's better than House
But
Ghosts.
It's
Beetlejuice
probably
is
better
so
than
good.
Beetlejuice, but yeah, like it does make sense ultimately by the end. Because at first when I was rewatching, I was like, why are we calling this Beetlejuice? Why is it not called Scared Sheetless? That's what it's all about. They need their sheets off. They need to be scared. But it's making sense. And then Beetlejuice is actually just so overwhelmingly important, or not just overwhelming vibe. And you're like, yeah, cool, fine. You can have the film.
Memorable.
Yes.
Although spell his
Iconic.
name. Spell his name better.
Iconic.
Okay, I think that concludes our chat about Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Next week we'll be back with.
Yeah, so next week we're going to be continuing on our spooky trend. We're going to do one of my personal favourite movies, which is in the spirit of weird, kind of crazy, maybe amazing horror films. We've done Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yep.
Which is, ridiculous and amazing, in my opinion. We then did Beetlejuice, which is ridiculous and pretty amazing, in my opinion. And then we're going to do Evil Dead 2, which is, in my opinion, insane and one of my favourite films because of just how ridiculous it is. So I'm very excited to watch it again with you guys next week.
Great.
But we'll be back.
All that to look forward to. But thank you for listening to our Beetlejuice podcast. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.